Sophia cried to her mummy. "Mum, Pastor Clint always tries to put his finger inside me. I can't travel for the competition alone with him." But her mum wouldn't believe her. This is the disturbing story of Sophia, whose mum handed over to Pastor Clint as a coach for a religious competition. Pastor Clint, a revered children pastor, unfolds to be a monstrous pedophile. Sophia's mum never noticed the red flag she raised. All parents must watch this. Learn as you watch and subscribe to Sultry Tales by Melford for more educative and intriguing stories.
The church hall was packed with parents, students, and congregants eager to witness the first stage of the competition. Sophia's hands trembled as she waited her turn, but she remembered Tracy's words of encouragement. "You've worked so hard, Sophia. Don't let anyone ruin this for you," Tracy had told her earlier that morning. When her name was called, Sophia stepped onto the stage, her heart pounding in her chest. She caught Pastor Clint's gaze from the front row, his smile sharp and calculated. She quickly looked away and focused on the task at hand. Sophia delivered her presentation with confidence and passion, drawing applause and admiration from the audience. By the time the results were announced, she had not only won but emerged as the top performer, securing her place in the national-level competition. Anne beamed with pride, hugging Sophia tightly. "I told you Pastor Clint's coaching would pay off," she exclaimed. Sophia forced a smile, but her stomach churned at the thought of what this win might mean. 2 days later, Anne sat with Sophia at the dining table, going over the details of the national-level competition. The organizers sent the itinerary and said, her excitement palpable. "You'll be traveling to Abuja with Pastor Clint next week. It's a big opportunity, Sophia. You should be grateful." Sophia froze. "Alone? With Pastor Clint?" and frowned. "Course. He's your coach. Who else would go with you?" "Mom, I don't want to go alone with him," Sophia said, her voice trembling. Anne's expression hardened. "Sophia, not this again. Why do you keep making a big deal out of this? Pastor Clint has been nothing but supportive of you. You're lucky to have him guiding you." Sophia's chest tightened. "You don't understand, Mom. I don't feel safe around him," and sighed in frustration. "You're being ridiculous. This is about your future. Don't let your childish fears ruin it." "But Mom." "No more arguments, Sophia. You're going and that's final," Anne said, cutting her off. Sophia retreated to her room, tears streaming down her face. Later that evening, Pastor Clint called Sophia under the pretense of discussing her preparations for the trip. "You did well at the competition, Sophia," he began, his tone dripping with false warmth. "I'm proud of you." "Thank you," Sophia replied stiffly, clutching the phone tightly. "Abuja is going to be an amazing experience for you," Clint continued. "But you'll need to trust me completely if you want to succeed." "Do you trust me, Sophia?" Sophia's heart raced. "I don't know," she whispered. Clint chuckled, but there was an edge to his voice. "You don't know. After everything I've done for you, do you think anyone else could have helped you achieve this?" "I didn't ask for your help," Sophia shot back, surprising even herself. Clint's tone turned cold. "Be careful, Sophia. I've been patient with you, but patience has its limits. Remember, your future depends on me." He hung up before she could respond, leaving her shaken. The week leading up to the trip was a blur of rehearsals and preparations. Sophia tried to find a way out, but every attempt was met with resistance. Maybe Tracy's parents could talk to my mum again, she suggested to Tracy one afternoon. Tracy shook her head. They tried, Sophia. Your mum wouldn't listen. She thinks this competition is your big break. Sophia buried her face in her hands. I can't do this, Tracy. I can't be alone with him in another city. You have to tell someone who can make a difference, Tracy said. Maybe a teacher or another adult you trust. But Sophia couldn't think of anyone who would believe her over Pastor Clint. The night before the trip, and found Sophia sitting on her bed, staring at her packed suitcase. What's wrong now? Anne asked impatiently. I don't want to go, Mum, Sophia said quietly. Anne crossed her arms. You don't have a choice. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Do you know how many girls would kill to be in your position? But Mom, I'm scared, Sophia admitted, her voice breaking. I don't want to be alone with him. And sighed, softening slightly. Sophia, you're letting your imagination run wild. Pastor Clint is a man of God. He would never hurt you. Sophia looked at her mother, desperation in her eyes. Why won't you believe me? And placed a hand on her shoulder. I do believe you're nervous, but you'll thank me later for pushing you. Now get some rest. You have a big day tomorrow. The next morning, Sophia stood at the bus terminal with her mother and Pastor Clint, and hugged her tightly, oblivious to her daughter's distress. Remember, Pastor Clint is there to guide you, and said. Be respectful and do your best. Sophia nodded numbly, her eyes darting to Clint, who smiled at her in a way that made her skin crawl. As the bus pulled out of the station, Sophia felt a sinking feeling in her chest. She was leaving behind everything familiar, heading into the unknown with the one person she feared most. The bus rumbled out of the station, its passengers settling into their seats. Sophia sat stiffly by the window, clutching her bag as if it could shield her from the storm of emotions raging within her. Beside her sat Pastor Clint, whose calm demeanor masked the darkness she had come to fear. Relax, Sophia, Clint said, leaning close. We'll get there in no time, and you'll shine like the star you are. Sophia offered a forced smile and turned to look out the window, praying silently for the journey to end. As the bus moved along the highway, Clint's behavior became increasingly unsettling. He leaned closer than necessary, his arm brushing against hers under the guise of adjusting his seat. At one point, he handed her a bottle of water. You should stay hydrated, he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Thank you, Sophia muttered, hesitating before taking a sip. Clint's hand lingered on her arm, his grip firm but not forceful. You're nervous, aren't you? He asked, his voice low. Sophia nodded, avoiding his gaze. There's nothing to be afraid of, Clint continued, his tone taking on a strange edge. I'm here to protect you, Sophia. You can trust me. Sophia swallowed hard, wishing she could melt into the seat and disappear. As the bus slowed down for a rest stop, Clint leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. Stay close to me when we get off, okay? I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. Sophia nodded reluctantly, her heart pounding. When they got off the bus, Clint guided her to a corner of the rest area, away from the other passengers. Are you feeling okay? He asked. placing a hand on her shoulder. Sophia nodded quickly, taking a step back. Clint's smile faltered for a moment before he stepped closer, invading her space. "You need to trust me, Sophia. I'm the only one who truly understands you." "I need to use the restroom," Sophia blurted, desperate to escape the situation. Clint hesitated but eventually nodded. "Don't take too long." Sophia rushed to the restroom, locking herself in a stall as tears streamed down her face. She wanted to call her mom or Tracy, but she knew it would be pointless. When they finally arrived in Abuja, Sophia felt a brief sense of relief, until Clint insisted on carrying her bag and leading the way to their lodging. The hotel was a modest but clean establishment with a small reception area. As they checked in, Clint spoke to the receptionist in hushed tones, his smile charming yet unnerving. "Welcome, sir," the receptionist said. "We've prepared a suite for you and your ward as requested." Sophia's heart sank. "A suite?" she asked, her voice trembling. Clint turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Yes, a suite. It's more convenient for us to be in the same space so we can go over your preparations." Sophia's chest tightened. "But I thought I'd have my own room." Clint's smile didn't falter, but his eyes narrowed. "Don't be silly, Sophia. This is how it's done. Besides, I'm here to guide you, remember." The receptionist handed over the key, and Clint placed a firm hand on Sophia's back, guiding her toward the elevator. The suite was spacious but suffocating. It had a single bedroom with a queen-sized bed, a small sitting area, and a bathroom. "You can take the bed," Clint said, setting their bags down. "I'll sleep on the couch." Sophia didn't trust his words but nodded silently, retreating to the bathroom to gather her thoughts. She splashed cold water on her face, trying to calm her racing heart. "God, please help me," she whispered, her voice breaking. When she stepped out, Clint was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. "Come sit," he said, patting the space beside him. "I'm tired," Sophia replied quickly. "I think I'll just go to bed." Clint's smile tightened. "Suit yourself. But remember, we have a lot of work to do tomorrow. Don't let your nerves get the best of you." Sophia nodded and climbed into bed, pulling the covers up to her chin. In the middle of the night, Sophia woke to the sound of footsteps. She froze, her breath catching in her throat as she saw Clint standing by the bed, looking down at her. "What are you doing?" she whispered, her voice shaky. "I heard you tossing and turning," he said, his voice unnervingly calm. "I wanted to make sure you were okay." "I'm fine," Sophia said quickly, sitting up and clutching the blanket tightly. Clint's eyes lingered on her for a moment before he smiled. "Good. Try to get some rest. We have a big day ahead." He returned to the couch, but Sophia couldn't sleep after that. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling and praying for the next morning. Clint acted as if nothing had happened, chatting cheerfully about their schedule for the day. But Sophia's fear and anxiety had reached a breaking point. As they prepared to leave for the competition venue, Clint placed a hand on her shoulder. "Remember, Sophia, I'm the only one who can help you succeed. Don't forget that." Sophia nodded mechanically, her mind racing with thoughts of escape.